Welcome to Honeybees and Beekeeping, a year in the life of an apiary. I'm Dr. Keith Delaplane, Extension Entomologist and Honeybee Specialist at the University of Georgia. So far, it's been a good year. Our new package colonies grew to full strength in time for the June sourwood flow. Thanks to strong, healthy colonies, a good location, and good weather, we harvested a bumper crop of sourwood honey. Late summer is a quiet time for beekeepers in this part of the country, but now autumn is approaching and we need to get our hives ready for winter. In this show, you'll learn how to prepare your hives for winter, and we'll monitor them through the cold months. As next spring approaches, we'll prepare the hives for their second season. Spring management of mature colonies differs a little from what you saw with new packages last spring. In this show, you'll see what to do. European honeybees are well adapted to surviving winters. They do so by hoarding a large honey supply and clustering together to keep warm. Left to their own, honeybees do a fairly good job at preparing for winter. But remember, we have imposed on them our management and artificial hive environment, which are not ideal. Don't assume that your bees will make it through winter without your help. In late summer, brood production decreases, and bees arrange their food for the winter cluster. Cells of honey, pollen, and a honey-pollen blend form a shell above and to the sides of a core composed of empty cells, most of the bees, and the remaining brood. When temperatures reach 64 degrees Fahrenheit, bees start to cluster together, and as temperatures drop, they concentrate the cluster into an increasingly tight ball. Bees enter empty cells on both sides of combs head first, thus keeping the uninterrupted nature of the cluster in spite of the interspersing combs. By vibrating their wing muscles, bees in the center generate heat that radiates throughout the cluster. Outer layers of bees are living insulation. Periodically, warm bees move to the outside of the cluster and relieve their cold, immobile sisters by pushing them deeper into the cluster. In this way, bees take turns at serving as insulation. Bees do not try to heat the whole hive cavity, only the cluster is kept warm. As winter progresses, the cluster gradually moves upward to eat honey and pollen. Because bees must eat honey to produce heat, the cluster must break occasionally to let bees move to new stores. This requires periodic warm spells. In late fall and early winter, there are no brood, so the bees allow greater temperature fluctuations to occur in the cluster. However, when brood rearing resumes in midwinter, bees rigidly keep the nest center at 85 to 95 degrees Fahrenheit, and this requires high honey consumption. This is why starvation risk is highest in late winter and spring. In the fall, we need to prepare the colonies for winter. Overwintering needs vary from region to region, according to the severity of the winters. But there are some fundamentals that apply no matter where you live. A beekeeper must be concerned with adequate food stores, ventilation, disease prevention, queen quality, and weather protection. The bees will feed on honey stores remaining in the hive. Remember, their sole purpose for gathering nectar and making honey is to feed themselves during winter, and some colonies are better than others at collecting nectar. That being the case, we need to make sure each colony has adequate food stores to last the winter. Now, here's a really simple yet effective way to find out. Just lift the back of the hive body. And if it's light, like this one, you'll need to feed it through the winter. Now this one's heavier. That tells me that it has enough honey. Now, I know you're wondering just how heavy is heavy enough. Well, you'll get a feel for it. By autumn, most colonies will be heavy with honey. But if nectar flows stopped early in summer, the bees may be short on stores by October. A 2-story hive should have at least 100 pounds of honey or syrup. If you use only one hive body, give the bees at least 1 medium super of honey for a minimum of 60 pounds of honey or syrup. Fall feeding is necessary if your colonies are light. Mix a heavy syrup of 2 parts sugar and 1 part water, and feed your bees with an internal division board feeder. Remove queen excluders during winter. These devices will fatally trap the queen as the cluster moves upward. Bees release water vapor during the winter as they eat, and this can condense on the hive lid and rain down on the bees. To prevent this, we need to provide adequate ventilation at the top of the hive by propping open the lid with a block of wood. If you do this, be sure to weight down the lid so it won't blow off. Another way to ventilate the hive is to drill a hole in the hive body. But don't drill into the wood with the frames inside. This is best done in the construction stage.